Okay, so today I have a very, very special person with me, Molly Mekus, and we're going to chat a little bit about kind of your experience so far with Sheridan Street. So, like, first off, how did you like discover Sheridan Street, and how did you like discover what we're doing?
Oh, great. Well, hey, Cody, thanks for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. So I actually was put in touch with you from our mutual friend, Vikram Deol. So I work with him with the Real Estate Academy. So he has been my coach and helping me out with certain things. And then, I had this aged lead database with things that they were older leads. I hadn't really worked them. I really didn't have a lot of time to work some of them as well. And so he's like, you know what? Have you heard of Sheridan Street? And I said, you know what? I haven't. I'm new, to this. And so he put me in contact with you. And then we reached out, jammed, and I really liked what you had to say. And, we met and here we are. So
Yeah, we're like, I would say we're probably 3 months into kind of like working together, 3 to 4 months into working together.
yeah.
And it's pretty cool because like when we were taking prior to like actually recording, we were taking a look at everything that you've been able to accomplish through the transfer that we sent you. And we saw that, you've had about 32 to 35 transfers in the last couple of months. And maybe walk us through kind of like the results so far and kind of like walk us through like what we've been able to do with kind of an age database and like kind of like walk us through your experience.
Well, great. So, I mean, basically, it couldn't have been easier. So, I downloaded my list of age leads that I had, and then I put them into Slack. So, and Millie has been great. She's my contact that I have. She's wonderful, and so she walked me through real seamless. And then, really, it was kind of plug and play from there. So, the team at Sheridan took over from there, and they began calling, these leads for me. And why that was helpful for me is I'm a full-time real estate agent, but I'm also a full-time mom. So I am busy during the day. I'm busy in the evenings. So some of these things it really helped take over for some of those activities that I really just didn't have the time to sit down and do. So and they started calling the leads, and then they would do the live transfer to me. And so with these live transfers, it's great because they are really doing some of the hard work for me. The sitting down, picking up the phone, where some people have kind of that fear, I guess, also of, calling these leads. That kind of eliminates that. I don't have that fear anymore. But so they kind of take over that for you, and they do the live transfer over to you with these people. And it's great. They tell you to what they're interested in, single family, condo, how many bedrooms, their price points. They really identify what they're looking for and then hand over this live transfer to you. So from there, you have the information already for you, and you can speak with them about what they're looking for, and it's in your own area because they're the leads that you have, and in my case, the leads that I have and that I own already. And so they really just kind of nail it down for you, and then you go from there. And then there are times too where you're busy, and then if that's the case, they'll set an appointment for you on your calendar, and then you call the lead back at that time and talk with them from there. So it's been extremely helpful.
So maybe you can kind of go through, and also what I'll do is I'll share my screen here, and we can kind of maybe go through some specifics. So like, you're great because it looks like you're actively working the CRM. So like, out of the 35-ish transfers, the 32-ish transfers that you have so far, like, can you walk us through like really quickly, like kind of this pipeline, the search list activated now working with client, like, can you walk us through kind of like the conversations you're having with them and then like kind of the follow-up in the future? Like, cause like, it looks like you're actively working with 7 people. Can you can you walk us through that?
Right, sure. So when and some of these were live transfers, and a couple of these were also ones that were booked appointments that I had to follow back up with, as well, just because I was either on an appointment or just I wasn't able to pick up at the time. So when I had spoke with these people, these again through conversations, I had set up a buyer's appointment with them, sat down with them in person after having the conversation with them on the phone, identified their needs, and then moved forward with their pre-approval process and then actively showing them homes. The difference between that list with the actively looking and then the follow up in the future are people I had conversations with on the phone, but weren't quite ready yet to sit down and have a meeting. So either they weren't ready to, they were 6 or 9 months out, not ready to sit down, or they had, and something going on within their life where it was preventing them from looking at that moment. But they were interested, and I'm still in communication with them. It's just not the right time at this moment to go drop and go and look at a house.
So just so I'm clear, so this is probably about like 60% of the transfers that you like, like you have about a 22% conversion rate from the transfers like to an actual like active showing client that are pre-approved that you're like showing properties to. So that's really, really good. So I guess like what like some people when they come into our ecosystem or when we're having conversations with them, they're a little bit hesitant towards like, will this actually work for me? I guess like you walk us through like, were you hesitant in the beginning and kind of like what kind of solved some of the hesitancy towards like actually hiring an ISA to you reach out to the leads that you have because now it's working for you. So I'm just curious, kind of like what like did you have that same hesitancy and what advice would you give to somebody who has a little bit of hesitancy towards the kind of making the move of hiring an ISA?
Well, for me, I mean, really, it came down to dollars and cents. So I was paying for leads and they were sitting there and I wasn't doing anything with them. And so, and I was looking at the math of it, and it was really me being, and I don't want to use the term lazy, but because we're not lazy, but it was just, oh, okay, I'll do this tomorrow. Or okay, or Thursday, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna call all these people in my database. And then you're looking at thousands of names, and I'm like, "Ah, God, I don't even know where to start. And so I looked at it and I'm like, you know what? I don't have the time, and part of it was I don't know if I just wanna spend this part of my morning doing it. So when I broke down the dollars and cents and I looked down it and I talked with you and I thought, "Well, man, this makes sense for me to hire someone to make these calls for me." And in that way, and it's just it's an intro call. They're setting up the call for you, but you are doing the one once you're talking to them, it's passed off to you. Like you are the one responsible for identifying their needs, making sure that you are the right fit, making sure that you're identifying what they want and getting them into, the process of buying and educating them in that way. But, Sheridan is great for making that initial phone call, contacting them. They're all wonderful with talking to the people on the phone because let's face it, when, you're calling somebody out of the blue, how likely are they like to really want to open up and talk to a stranger? Not very likely. So the Sheridan people have been very well trained to talk to people in a conversational and a curious way to see if they are open because in leads there are people who are just randomly curious about homes, click on it, put their information in there, and they're sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock at night just scrolling through Zillow or whatever else, and they just don't, they're not going to buy a house, they just like to look. And so there are a good number of those, but this really does help identify the ones that are truly serious versus the ones that are like, oh, I was just on Facebook and I clicked and I didn't know it captured my information and sorry, I'm not interested, versus the ones who were like, well, I'm kind of interested if it's the right moment or it's the right house or it's the right time. And Sheridan does a really great job of identifying those people throughout the database. So it really is a time saver, and time's money. So it really does help in that way.
Hey Molly, I just want to say thank you more than anything. It's really exciting to hear that, like, we've been able to kind of take your database and that you had, because I think in the beginning you had like 3, 4, 5,000 leads in your database, and we're able to actually, in a short amount of time, help you pick up an additional 1 to 2 to 3 buyers that you're actively working with now on a monthly basis. So it's really cool, and like kind of want to give a shout out to you more than anything because I know that you came from training with Vic and you came from a sales background, so there's that ability to use like the game plan frame that we talk about. Has anyone taken the time to walk you through the top 3 things you need to consider in order to win in the market when you're ready to buy? So kind of closing out here, we do a lot of training. We host a lot of training events. Like, have you found that that's been super helpful for you as well? Like the training that we do, kind of wrapping up here.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, that's another great point. So on top of also having the calls and having the ability to get in front of more people, in a very easy way. Like, and what I mean by easy is that you don't have to go out and bang on doors. Somebody's doing that part for you. There is that additional training as well. So you are in front of people who are in the same position as you, who are coming up against the same objections as you on the phones, in person. And it's great because you get to bounce off ideas. People are telling you different, suggestions and different frameworks that you can use that you might not know from your own individual brokerage or team because that's just what you are in your own little bubble. So it's great to have this whole experience of all these people from all over the country and Canada to be able to talk with and learn these new experiences and try new things. And they work. There's a number of things that I've learned in the past, 6 months that I hadn't used before that really do help. and really do and really do help get you in front of people and close more deals. So it really has been helpful.
Hey, Molly, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day in order to chat with us about kind
Oh
of your
yeah.
experience.
My
And
pleasure.
we're excited to see kind of like where your business goes over the next year as we continue to partner together. So I want to say thank you and thanks for your time.
Thank you, Cody. We'll see you soon.
Awesome.